Welcome to the Codes of Sisterhood, a sacred space for women to unlock the codes of connection, belonging, and feminine power. Here we are rewriting the story and remembering what it means to rise together. We are a collective of women gathering to raise the frequency of the feminine, to code what is possible for those who will come after us. This is legacy work for the women who came before, for the women who are here now, and for the women who are yet to come. Welcome, sister. You found your way home. This is the Codes of Sisterhood. Welcome, everybody. I have no idea what episode number this is, and I'm so excited to be here. It's episode 2? 3? Oh my goodness. I'm excited to be here. I'm hosting today Marta Napoleon Mazzoni. It's lovely to be here. I don't have the intro memorized, so I was just reading. I was just like reading the intro, and I just realized I'm nervous. There we go. That's I just realized I'm nervous. I'm like, oh, I just realized I'm nervous. Yay. But yeah, I'm so excited to be here. I host my own podcast, but being in a setting where we get to record, and I know all of us are going to get to do this like hosting. It's so interesting. I love it. Okay. So I heard the topic of conversation today was, where do we lie to ourselves? Is that what we were going with? I think, Linda, did you put that in the post? Like, where do we lie to ourselves? Where do we hide?
Yeah, it was
Hide.
like the concept of like what we're embodying and what we're hiding from.
What we're embodying and what we're hiding from. I love that. Who wants to open?
I'd love to go with the theme of being nervous and also places where we might avoid ourselves, let's say. So my name is Fraś, and I believe I'm second time here on this podcast. And well, nervousness is just an important sign. So it happened to me today. I on a daily basis working at school. And today I was holding a microphone to a student's mouth and he was speaking and I felt his nervousness. He started very calm and he went into nervousness. And I just wondered why. It's just, we were standing in the middle of a busy hall. He was just saying the memorized things, just like you did, Marta, today. And if you were nervous and if he was nervous, that means there's something in the words or there's something in the meaning that we give to the situation that is important to us. So it is very true for me that I avoid nervousness. I just don't want to go there. But on the other hand, if nervousness means that there is meaning, perhaps this is the place where we should go, in fact. So maybe this is a good sign. Maybe this is like, this matters to me. I care. I wonder, what does nervousness mean to you, ladies? And whether you avoid it, and have you ever followed it? Because perhaps if we follow our nervousness, if we don't avoid it, we might be truer to ourselves. I wonder.
I love that, Anna. Thank you.
I totally agree with that. Yeah, it's like, I think for me, personally, when I feel nervous, it just shows me that like I care about something. Like it's let's say that yeah, I have to speak in front of the people, or I record something, or or create something, and I have this anxiety in me because I care about what I've created. I care how I'm gonna show up, how I'm gonna give the part of me that I want to give. And I think that's what it's showing to me. And in that, yeah, it's a signal that I do care, and I kind of follow it. So definitely not avoiding it, because yeah, like if something is very important to me, why would I avoid it? It's always kind of, I notice that within, a few minutes it melts. I remember I was at school and I was performing in different places, and every time when I was about to start, when I was going on stage as well, I was so nervous, like a stage fright, right? And you're nervous because you care. And then when you're starting to really step into your element, you start to really kind of tap into your magic, that melts away because you start feeling yourself so much more deeper. And you're just like, yeah, I know I'm doing it. So that's how it is showing for me.
Maria.
Wow. Okay. Nervousness. Yes, I get nervous. Like you, Anna, and Aga shared. When I have something that I value that I'm doing and I want to get it right, I want to do the best possible. So that's one area that I get nervous. So the first time I ever have my first coaching call with a client, I am nervous because and excited. So for me, that nervousness also turns into a thread of excitement because it's that that for me, like I wanna do the best possible. I wanna get it right. I wanna make the biggest difference. And yeah, so that is one area where I get nervous, is when I want to do really well at something that I'm passionate about or something I'm committed to. And the other area where I get nervous is when I'm stepping into something big for myself and I'm scared I'm gonna fuck it up. I'm scared I'm gonna make big mistakes. I'm gonna fail. It's not gonna turn out the way that I desire for it to turn out. Or also where I feel I'm not solid in what I know and I'm walking into the unknown and I have to learn something new. Like for the longest time, I kept walking around with the identity that I'm not good at technology. Um, and it took me about a year to really transform that. And once I started transforming it, like I started learning so much about so many different things. And now I refuse to ask anyone how to solve a problem around technology before I look at videos on YouTube, or like I try in different ways with what makes sense to me, and then I look for videos, and then if I absolutely cannot figure it out, then I'll ask for help. And it has contributed to me shifting the identity of like I'm not good with technology, because now I'm like, oh yeah, let me go look at a video, and I end up solving a lot of different things that I didn't know how to do or didn't think myself possible to solve. So yeah, that's when nervousness comes into me. For me is, yeah, when I'm stepping into something big as well. So it turns a little bit into anxiety. So it starts as nervousness, and then it turns into anxiety, and then I get stopped, and then I go back to playing small. So it's like a self-sabotage yo-yo thing that happens with me. It's like, oh, I'm excited, I'm gonna do this, I'm nervous. I try a little bit, it doesn't work out, then it turns into frustration and anxiety, and then it's like, oh, I'm gonna retreat because I don't know how to do it. Or I'm not capable, or I don't have the knowledge yet. And in human design, I'm a 5-1. So my line one is like always wanting to go deeper and deeper. And so that's a go-to for me. Oh, I don't know enough. I have to go study more, I have to go learn more, I have to go practice more. And then I can come back and actually do it. and that's the yo-yo that in my life has stopped me. And so I more and more I play with it. More and more I play with it to lessen the gap of how often it stops me in my life. And that's how all those things that I believe are truly attached, like they come with each other, the nervousness, the anxiety, and then that just complete stop. That's how it usually shows up in my life.
Thank you, Maria. Jennifer.
Wow, piggybacking off of that, Maria, that was like, I feel like I could have spoke that. Like that was so much of what I feel. And like even right now, as I'm saying, like I don't know if you can hear, like there's a little quiver in my voice, and like my heart is like beating a little fast, and I feel like I have like little butterflies in my belly, you know what I mean? And I get emotional, so just FYI, there's 99% of the chance there's going to be tears at some point when you listen to me. But it's like there's that feeling of using my voice, like letting myself speak. This is usually like when it applies, it's like when I'm about to share, when I'm about to speak on a call, when I'm about to get coaching. It's that tapping into that you get to use your voice. Your voice matters. And there's been a lot of times that I've had evidence that my voice impacts people. And some of those times I didn't like the impact because it felt like, they ran out of the room crying, because I touched their emotions so deep, or whatever. I've judged myself for the impact, making it mean, oh, if they ran out of the room crying, that means that I must have said something wrong. When in fact, they could have been having the biggest breakthrough of their freaking life and they just didn't want to be in a room full of people. You know what I mean? So it's like the nervousness for me shows up as like a little bit of self-judgment of how I'm gonna come across. And then like I'm a manifester too. So, it's like, well, there's that. I'm probably, it's like if you have a wound and you go in to get it clean, like you have to scrub it first before you can put freaking ointment on it, before you can do any stitches, before you can put a band-aid on it. You have to clean the wound and scrub it. And sometimes my manifestor energy like comes across as scrubbing the wound, like cleaning it. And I don't like that all the time. I don't like that a lot of the time because I'm just like, no, I want everybody to feel happy and warm and fuzzy in my presence. No tears unless they're happy tears and joyful, like whatever the case that I tell myself. And so the nervousness is, and I think this is what's coming up for me. It's a me thing. Like nobody else is making me nervous. Like nobody has that power. It's a me thing. It's a mindset thing. And I love that it's the other spectrum of excitement. And I love, Anna, what you brought forth because it means it matters to you. It means it freaking matters. Whatever you're about to say, whatever you're embarking on, whatever you're sharing, like it matters to you. It's important to you. And I feel let's lean into the nervousness. Like, and what one of you said I think Linda, you said it melts after a few minutes. Like I notice that I can physically notice that going back watching our stuff. Like I'm like, oh, look at you, little Jen, look at you, because I'll be like quivering and shaking, and then all of a sudden, like that power, it's like the the wobble, and then it's like footing, and I've got it, and we're going, you know what I mean? And it really brings up that be scared and do it anyway, you know what I mean? Be nervous and do it anyway, and I just love the energy of we don't have to be perfect, like whatever the fuck that even is. Like we get to show up nervous, we get to show up scared, we get to show up, however we are, and that is what is perfect. You know what I mean? Like that is what's perfect. We think perfect is no hiccups, we don't trip over our words, we don't drop something, we don't, whatever, our voice don't shake. We think that is what's perfect. But I dare to submit, crazy me, just dare to throw this out there. What if actually you showing up in your most authentic state, whatever that looks like, is what's perfect? What if that's what's perfect? So being nervous, like I was on the call yesterday getting coaching, I was like, I felt my voice shaking. I felt it. But what was I talking about? I was getting coaching around a topic that's really freaking important to me. So of course it makes sense that there would be like those feelings involved, you know? And another side piece is like the nervousness that, like Maria, like you said, like, oh, it's important to me. I might fuck it up. Well, I've got the 3-5 profile. I am familiar with fucking shit up. You know what I mean? I am the poster child for that. But it's like, in that, what if that is the perfection also? You know what I mean? Like, who do we know that has showed up and just checked all the boxes from day one and felt together from day one? Nobody. Nobody. Like everybody has a story that got them to where we perceive them as being, oh, all their ducks are in a row and they've made it. You know what I mean? So it's just like having that wherewithal, like having that knowledge that even if people judge us because we're humans, whatever, that doesn't have to shut us down. That doesn't have to shut us down. Like we can tap into the energy of the perfection of who we are in our authenticity. Because I don't know, like, I don't know about all y'all listening, but me, I'd rather you show up and speak from your heart and your soul and fumble over your words and get nervous and cry and snot all over the damn place than I would for you to show up and shrink and not share from who you are, because then I can't celebrate you. I can't see the beauty that is you when you show up shrinking. You know, and I was like, I'm shrinking. You know what I mean? Like, let's not do that. Like, let's really, and there's so much beauty in this sisterhood. And for those of you listening, there's so much beauty because listen, we don't have to have this perceived perfection to make a difference, period. And I think as women, when we really get that, we don't have to be the good girl. We don't have to be the perfect girl, the polished girl, the super skinny girl, the this girl, the that girl, whatever the girl it is that you tell yourself that you have to be in order to show up and make a difference. Like, no, you get to be who is in your heart. What is your heart? What is your soul? And you will feel nervous doing it. And guess what? Every great has. Every great has. No, nobody's not felt this. And I think we make ourselves like the island, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm the only one that feels this way. No, you're not. Like you're special, but you're not special in that. We all do that. You know what I mean? We literally all do that. So let's just be in that energy and be nervous and do it anyway. And realize that the perfection comes from the authenticity.
Linda.
Mic drop, Jennifer, with the mic drop. Every word, like, yes, 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 yes. Okay, first of all, let me breathe. Marta teaches me to breathe before I speak, so I'm gonna breathe. And my name is Linda Barnett. I'm a 4/6 splenic projector. And I'm so excited because this is one of those moments where I feel like I'm having a like right place, right time, divine guidance moment, because the entire theme of my week has been this, like in everything I look, see, it's like I am being guided into this conversation deeper and deeper. And I'm so excited to deepen this. I made a post this morning that said, fear is my habit, not my truth. And this conversation seals the deal, Lucille, because I have like genuinely become a servant to my fear. Like it's so familiar to me that even when I'm not afraid, I remind myself to be like, oh, let's go home to fear. Like, come on, come on. Like I guide myself back to it, even when I'm not in the frequency of it, because I've become like, it's become a habit in my life. And I think, nervousness, fear, worry, doubt, all that frequency that kind of goes together. But I know that we had a conversation in our group a few days ago, and what came up was so interesting. It's like that frequency has its backside, its flip side with like bliss and enthusiasm and excitement and like, you know, your body feels the same when you sink in. Like when I'm super excited, I can't wait. It almost feels the same in my body as when I'm like terrified. The bubbles feel the same. The like constriction feels the same. And the difference is that based on the situation that's causing the emotion, I'm assigning a meaning to it. Like, I'm like, oh, this is fear because this is going on right now. And oh, this is like excitement because this is going on right now. And I think we're so, or at least I can speak for me, when it's unknown, I call it fear. And when it's comfortable, I call it like excitement. And really, what could be more exciting than stepping into the unknown, than doing something you've never done? Like, I used to be an addict at like doing things I was afraid of. That was like a little bit of my vibe. When I was in college, I got scuba certified and I did stuff, and people would be like, are you gonna, like, why? I'm like, because I'm afraid of it. And I did that. And somehow along the way, I don't know if it was just watching people I love pass away before I thought it was time, or becoming a mother and being responsible for other human life. Like, I don't know if it was a perfect storm of all those things, but somewhere along the way, I decided that fear was in charge. And I decided to take the passenger seat to fear. And I decided that if I was afraid, it meant I had to stop. And like this last few weeks is just, I've been in so many uncomfortable situations. And I've realized that I have this power and sovereignty to define what is uncomfortable. And like when I'm doing something new, I get to say, this is so exciting. I get to say, I don't have any idea what I'm doing. I cannot wait to learn. I get to say, shit, I don't know how this is going to go. That's so fun. Rather than, oh my, like the doom of, I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where this leads. And there's just this pivot of energy about it. And it comes from me. And it's like, the fear I'm experiencing on the outside is coming from the inside. It's like, you know, when that movies, when they get the call and they're like, I'm in the house. And they're like, the robber is in the house with you. It's that. It's like, it's in here. It's all coming from in here. And the minute I give it new meaning and give it new energy and give it a new perspective, what I see on the outside changes because the source of it changes. And I think that I'm not saying like I'm eradicating fear or nervousness, and I'm not saying it doesn't have a place, but I'm saying that the meaning I have assigned to it and the actions that I don't take because of the meaning I've assigned gets to change. Like I am always in the driver's seat, and I am always filtering and using this lens to inspect what's going on. And yeah, I can say like, this is cool. I'm afraid. And you know why it's so cool that I'm afraid? Because I must be doing something that's wildly different than what I've been doing. Because I'm not afraid to take a bath. I'm not afraid to take a shower. I'm not afraid to drive my car. I'm not afraid to eat. I'm not afraid to breathe. I'm not afraid to hang out with my friends. I'm not afraid to have like be with my kids. And those are all things I know are like everyday habits. They're everyday things. What I'm afraid of is to, you know, get online and go live. What I'm afraid of is to speak my truth in such an embodied, convicted way because of why, you know, like my whole life I spent trying to find the thing that made me unique. And when I found it, I didn't want to say it because it didn't sound like anybody else. Like, does anybody hear the psychosis in that? Like, please make me unique, make me different. Like, what it is about me that's so special that makes me the one. And then I find it, and then I'm like, yeah, but that sounds so different than everybody else. How could I speak that? It's like nonsense, complete and utter nonsense. And I respect it because it's like my evolution and my growth. But at the same time, it's like, this is, I've heard it from all of us this week. I heard it from us on our last call. And I know that people are listening, women who are like at the precipice. Like, I know what I have. I know what makes me special. I know my magic. I know my medicine. I feel it. But the gap between that and expressing it out loud, boldly, courageously, like naked and raw, is this like thin veil of like, what will they say? What will they think? How does it make me sound? And the truth is that filter, that wall, that veil that we're putting up is blocking the frequency that calls it all in. It's like the spell you won't speak is evoking all the things you're calling in. And I just think it's time to use fear as it was meant to be used, use nervousness as it was meant to be used. And it was meant as like a calibration tool to know that you're doing something bold. It was meant as a push. It was meant as like, all right, like I'm growing, I'm expanding, I'm going into the unknown, I'm going into things I can't see, I'm diving before I know what's at the bottom. That's what fear, it was protecting us, you know, like the saber-toothed tigers aren't coming, ladies. Like we just have to realize that fear can be woman handled. Fear can be told to sit down and be quiet. Fear can be disciplined. Fear can be directed. Fear can be quieted like a child, you know, like, hey, take a seat. Like, I hear you. It's not like, it's okay. I got it. You're here. I hear you. You're seen. You're heard. Now you need to be quiet. Mommy's working. Like I'm doing big things. Shut your little pie hole. And I just, I guess the reason I'm getting so passionate about it is because when I look at all your beautiful faces, all I see is magic. All I see is your gifts and your beauty and your talents. And I look at every one of your faces and I'm like dripping with like, my mouth is open with like how much I adore everything about you. And it's like, how can someone look at us and see so much beauty and magic and we can't see that in ourselves? And this is where I think it's time, the rising, to really ask fear, like it has overly done its job. And now it's time for the beautiful that is us to birth. I love you. That was my little mic drop.
Thank you, Linda. Ah! I met a woman at Esalen on this retreat I just went to, and she was doing a year of just running towards her fears. Like literally running towards them. So she stood up and she held the microphone in front of this room of people that she had never met. Erin, if you're watching this. And she said, I have a habit of running away from my fears. So I decided in this next year that I was going to run towards them and see what would happen. And I remember sitting there listening to her and being like, I feel like I used to do that. Like, I feel like I used to do that. Like, I feel like that girl that like stepped on a plane with no plan and went on a treasure hunt, you know, like literally an archaeological dig, like that girl that was scared of flying, you know, all of these things. But then it comes in and I start to think to myself, oh, I'm still doing that. Like, I'm still facing my fears. And it's so funny you posted, Linda, you said you had a post like today about fear. I literally posted in the movement where I was like, what am I afraid of? Like, what am I truly afraid of? Like, what am I afraid will truly happen if I decided to go all in on something, or if I decided to like try something on? Like, what am I afraid of? Like, what's the worst that can happen? And it's like we're talking about nervousness and those signals that we get. And for me, it's twofold. For me, it's like nervousness can be, I'm not prepared. Like, you ever have that dream where you have a play or a musical, or is this just me? Is this a theater background thing? You have a play or a musical and you're going on stage and it's time. Like, it's you. Like, and you don't know the lines and you just got called up to bat and you're like sweating. So like there's that nervousness, that like that I'm not prepared nervousness. And underneath it, like you said, Anna, was I care about this. I care about this deeply. And I love exploring this because I still get nervous. Like, I do public speaking all the time, and I'm terrified of it. I'm still terrified of it. My armpits sweat. I shake, like physically shake. It's the same thing if I audition for a musical and like I sing, my body takes over and I shake and I sweat. And it is crazy. And some people don't notice it. And they're like, oh, you're so good at this. You're so good at this. Like, I wish I had what it took to just get up there and do what you do. And you're just free expression and all these things. And I'm like, I'm terrified. I'm scared shitless. What do you mean? And it's so something that I know if I did more of it, like that idea of being like, what are we afraid of? If we practiced more of it, we would get good at it. Like Maria said with the tech, like we would just get good at it. We wouldn't have that fear anymore because we would know it. It would become familiar to us. And anything that is familiar to us feels safe in our bodies, even if it is like just, even if it's something that seems crazy to someone else, because that's really the fucked up thing that gets me. It's my fear is not the same as your fear. Like, we've all been saying this, like my fear is not the same as your fear. You could look at my fear and be like, that's nothing. Why are you scared of that? That's so weird. Like, what, are you crazy? Why, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? And I could look at your fear and say the exact same thing and be like, oh my God, you've got this. You've totally got this. It's fine. Once you're through it, it's like when you see a little kid that's so scared of doing something. And you're just looking at it and you're like, but yes, once you do it, once you step over that line, once you try it, you'll be able to do it again and again and again. And you'll just practice it again and again and again and again. And then you won't even think about it. And that's the fascinating thing for me, is that the fears that we once had, we don't even think about them anymore. Like, we don't remember them. Isn't that funny? Like, you think back, like maybe you remember some of them, but you've conquered a lot of them. And then you don't think about them. We spend so much time ruminating and creating these stories in our heads when really, if we just step through, we would find out 1-3 here, like we would find out if we actually like it. We would find out if we actually are good at it. We would challenge ourselves. And then the beautiful part is that we can pivot. We can pivot. We can change. We can go in a different direction. Like we can have all of these things. And the thing that I love the most, well, about why we're doing this and recording this, like the codes of sisterhood, is that fear keeps us trapped from connection and like connecting with other people. And at the very heart of it, it's like it keeps us from having the best relationships we want in our lives, which is really what all of us want. You know what I mean? Like that nervousness and that fear, like even when you're like wanting to make a new friend. Even when you're, you know, like doing all of these things, we get so trapped in our minds. And I know most of us here are like starting a business, and you start to like focus on that and you start to obsess about it, and it becomes like a wormhole, right? So if you're listening to this and you're like an entrepreneur and you're like, oh my God, a wormhole, and all of your fears start to get wrapped up in that. And you forget like these latent fears that are really about our human connection with other people. And that's like our baseline, like of how we interact with everyone, of how we form relationships. And sisterhood for me, and I know I've said it, and I don't know if I've said it on here, but it's like, that's something I didn't even know that I wanted or knew how to have it be in a way where it was beautiful and authentic, and where I didn't feel afraid. Like I didn't feel afraid. And this has taught me so much that it's like, okay, like it's okay to feel afraid. And the moment you name it, it doesn't have the power. Like it just doesn't have the power anymore. It's like shame. Like I talk tons about this in grief work. Like it's like you bring it out into the light and it doesn't hold the power over you anymore, because now you know it, you are familiar with it, and then you move through it. Or you grab a group of girlfriends and you talk it out, and you have everybody support you like we're doing here. So if you're listening to this, naming it, looking at it is the most beautiful thing I think you can do. And I love that we're doing this here. I don't know how long we are recording today, but I think if we do have time, it would be really cool to go around and just, once everybody talks, like quickly name our fear that we're feeling right now. And that's sexy to me. So sexy. Ooh, the deep conversation's so sexy. All right, who's next? Alicia?
Alicia Siegel here, and I'm going to take it just in a little bit of a different direction, kind of piggyback on the like facing it and the veil concept. Just for a little bit of context for our listeners, I'm a 4/6 sacral manifesting generator, double Leo Sun, Leo Moon, Enneagram 7. I am hardwired for leadership, for being the center of attention. When I'm hiding, it is not conscious. When I'm hiding, I don't realize I'm hiding. And when I notice I'm hiding, it creates shame. And when I can connect with that shame, I can heal. And it's not always fear that makes me hide. Sometimes it's joy. Sometimes it's being too much. And one of the big lessons that I've taught myself over the years is putting on my brave coat and moving through different frequencies to get me from this place of like hiding. And in yoga, I have a 20-year background in yoga, and with like a tantric lean. And there's this concept of Maya, and it means that there's a veil over you. And the veil that's in front of you stops you from seeing the world, but it also gives you this beautiful projection screen. Like, so when we're not seeing what's out there in the world, we're literally playing a movie of what we could be seeing. So a lot of things that are kind of, I call it hicking me up, you know, like getting in my way, causing little hiccups in my process, is like these stories of like, what would I, what would I, okay, so there's a lot of things happening right now that I've ran through my head before, like, what would I do if this was happening? What would I do if this was happening? And right now I live in a part of the world where some things are happening that I've run through my head. What would I do if? And I'm noticing that if is here, and here I'm not acting like I thought I would. I'm not acting according to the movie that I played on my screen. If this will happen, then this will happen. Alicia will step up like this. And that is so confusing for me. And I'm noticing it's because I have some sleeping fears about being a leader. Lately, I've been tormenting myself with this concept of becoming a politician in my area. And that torment, I have to put my brave coat on even to like look at this, because I realized I'm afraid of death by assassination. Like, death by assassination is something I've been afraid of since I was a little kid when I learned about Abraham Lincoln. Like, I think it's because I'm an Enneagram 7 and a double Leo that I had that fear since I was a little girl. I don't know very many people that have that specific fear. But on the other hand, I also crave salvation. And I crave like doing like political work so that I can help people on like a massive scale. So I kind of wanted to segue a little bit into the frequency here, because anything we want to do, if we're hiding, we're operate on the frequency of hiding, cowering, like being low, laying low, chilling, you know. The frequency of courage is different. It's like that like what so many people have talked about, the quivering, the butterflies, the kinetic energy in the body, like that like helps us to know what we care about, that helps us align with our purpose. And for me, that took an incredible amount of dancing it out to be able to use that as power in my body. And then there's this next frequency, the frequency of eloquence. That means the brave coat's on. The brave coat does not come off. And I show up with my voice, speaking firmly, loudly, with power, using my authority in all the ways that I possibly can, because I know something. I showed up knowing something very specific. And this is confidence. You know, it's a whole different level of showing up in the world. But we can't know like how to show up if there's this veil in front of us. And I think sometimes we worry when these fears come up, or we worry when we notice that there's a veil between us and something else. But it's a cue that there's something deeper to learn. And I am just a junkie for personal growth and development. And I think that along my path, it has introduced me to so many amazing people like all of you, and so many amazing teachers. And I've gone to the lows of the lows and the highs of the highs as I study. And I think I just lost my train of thought. I think I just completely like drove my train right into the veil of illusion, the veil of Maya. And I did feel nerves when that happened. So let me just gather.
I love that you're being a classic example of it. Thank you for embodying it for us. Like this, thank
Because
you.
I
for
knew
being
what I was
so
talking about, like the channel just ended, then I would know what you were talking about, Marta, which is hilarious. So yes. Oh, okay. So maybe this is like a little segue that might tie up what I've been talking about, if I can remember what I've been talking about. The way that fears and hopes and dreams and frequency kind of navigate through our own systems. So I have 4 defined energy centers, and the rest of them are all open in the human design. And sometimes I think I get stuck when energy is required from an open center, and I haven't figured out how to activate it or to borrow it from the right people or the right situations at the right time to use it. And that's why I think like these calls that we do and tuning into podcasts are so important, because we can't be everything for everyone all the time. We can't be the salvation to each fear that we have in any moment, because we're all wired to take care of each other. And there's just this thing about trusting the process of life, and knowing that sometimes we're looking out at the actual world, sometimes we're projecting what would I do if, and then when we get there and we're like, oh my gosh, if is here. And I'm like, just an example, I'm not opening up my home to unhoused people. I thought I would. I thought I would be able to, but it turns out the rest of my family would be very uncomfortable with that. And I can't just open up my home to unhoused people when the rest of my family vehemently says no. What would I do if, I don't know, I don't need to go into any other things, but just when I have to consider everyone else around me, and there's somewhere inside of me that needs help in order to get from this stage to the next stage. I guess there is that, like, I can put my brave coat on, but I can ask you to hold my coat up so I can stick my arms through. And I guess I'm grateful for you guys for holding up my coat sometimes so that I can get it on. Thanks for listening.
I love that. Hold my coat up so I can stick my arms through my brave coat. That's beautiful. Maria.
That's such a beautiful way of expressing what we are for one another. Thank you. Thank you, Alicia. Oh my goodness. I was making circles and notes in the whole bed as everybody has been speaking because it just like lit up so much. I want to touch on how fear stops us as women, because what I have noticed, one of the patterns that I notice in myself and in other women, is that the reason why this fear stops us is because there's a big fear of rejection. It's like being rejected. And for me, the way rejection played out in my life in the past is, if I am rejected, and it could be, dating or relationships or friendships or at a job, whatever the situation, being rejected to me in the past meant that there was something wrong with me. That's where I went immediately. And so it would, I allowed that fear to dominate me. And then it would just take me down this spiral of self-hatred and wronging myself and diminishing myself. Instead of using the fear, like Linda said, to calibrate. And like Anna said, like all of you have been saying, like using the fear or using the nervousness to ground ourselves and to calibrate, to stop for just a moment and take a deep breath and be like, what is this teaching me? What is this showing me? Instead, in the past, mostly I used the fear to catastrophize, to create so many stories in my mind about how it was going to go so negatively before things even happened. And I would be stopped. I wouldn't even try that thing because it's like, oh my gosh, this is going to go south very quickly and I'm going to fuck it up. It's going to be screwed up and then it's going to be a mess. And I don't have the strength to clean it up. So it kept me in a loop because I fear that rejection. And the reason why I feared that rejection is because I personally had a toxic relationship with me. And in my relationship with myself, I always put myself down. And that kept me in that loop. But the truth is, when we are children, what are the things that we do a lot of the time? We are curious. We have a huge imagination and we play. And all of those are such extraordinary qualities to continue embodying as we grow up and as we're adults, because those are the things that have brought me from fear to actually doing the things that I fear. And Marta, when you were sharing about that woman who said, I'm just going to run towards my fears, my every cell in my body, like it ignited and my body just twitched. And I was like, and I wanted to cry. And I'm like, oh, what if I were to do that? Oh my gosh, like, what if I were to run towards my fears? Like, holy crap. The last time I ran towards my fear was when I had breast cancer. Like when I really ran towards something that I was like, I don't know what the hell is going to happen. I can die. But that brings me to a very valuable part of how we transform the fear is that when I had breast cancer, the day that we told our daughters, I was still with my ex-husband at the time. The day that we told our daughters, my younger daughter was 9. And when I tucked her in that night to sleep, she looked up at me with her big brown eyes and she said, Mom, she's like, please don't leave me. I'm just a little girl and I need my mama to teach me things as I grow up. And I honestly didn't know what the fuck to say. I had no clue what was going to happen. I was completely in the unknown. And I just looked right into her eyes and I said, I am not going anywhere. And I promise you that I'm going to be here with you as you grow up. Next month, she's going to be 20. And that was the biggest promise I had ever made in my life, not knowing what was going to happen. So the other side of fear is committing to something bigger than ourselves. Is committing to a big why, to a bigger purpose that's beyond us. And I wanted to really say that to anyone listening. And it could be like, for me, that was big because I had to do with life or death, but it's like any commitment that we have. Like as a mother, I'm committed to my children. And that motherhood to me is one of the most precious things in my life, is the thing that I am most proud of. So everything that I do in my life has that thread, that commitment of how am I going to show up and how is me showing up going to be an example to my 2 daughters and how is it going to move all of our lives forward. And if I do this thing and I try to get away with something because I'm afraid, what is that? How is that going to impact my kids and my grandkids? So in life, I've grown to examine my life, not just for me, but mostly for the people around me that I love, and for community and for humanity. Because the more I work on embodying those qualities that I desire to embody and the values that I believe in and the values that I want to pass down to my children, then that's my access to use fear as a calibration and use the nervousness and the anxiety and all of these things as just stepping stones and as just guides that are teaching me something, that are just reflecting something back to me so that I can then grow and learn and keep moving forward. So, and always reminding myself, and I'm so happy that I have these 2 beautiful grandchildren. They remind me to be curious all the time. They remind me to play. They remind me to have an imagination. And they remind me to look at life with such magic. Like to them, everything is magic and everything is beautiful and everything is a discovery. And so I invite us, to really bring that curiosity, the playfulness, and the imagination back into our lives as much as possible on a daily basis, and to really look at the things that we're afraid of doing as opportunities for us to move forward our whys and our purpose, and that goes beyond ourselves. And for me, that has made the biggest difference. It has transformed my life. Committing to a bigger vision than just me took me out of that self-deprecating relationship that I had with myself, the toxic relationship that I had to myself. And it gave me the courage and the strength to not only let go of an abusive, toxic relationship with myself and the one that I had inside of my relationship with my ex-husband, but it allowed for me to create the kind of conviction to then be able to forgive him, be able to forgive myself, bring love back into our lives, and recreate my family. Now that we weren't together, it didn't mean that my family had to fall apart. And it was easy for it to fall apart and to think that it wasn't possible what we have today, because it was so broken, it was so dysfunctional, it was so toxic. And the fact that I created a bigger vision for myself, that guess what? I have the power to forgive this man. I have the power to bring love back into our lives so our daughters can grow up with both of their parents in their lives without drama, without negativity. And the biggest thing that I want to kick out of all of our existence is abuse and toxicity. And so that's what I'm going to commit to. And that's what I'm going to work on. And so it left me in a space where I could let go of being right, that he was the one who destroyed our lives, of being right, that I was the victim of my life, of being right about so many things, that if I shifted the context of it and I, use the fear to calibrate myself and connected to that bigger thing, that bigger why, that's completely bigger than me, that it gave me the power, it gave me the courage, and it gave me the strength. And today, my ex-husband is a completely different human. And we love each other, and we have a beautiful friendship based on love and respect. He would never even dream of saying anything negative to me. On the contrary, this man the other day says, "You're one of the best moms I know. You're such a powerful leader." And then he has an amazing relationship with both of our daughters. Like, we all spend time together. We hang out. We're still a family. And that would not be possible if I just held on to the fear, to being right, to being a victim, and to catastrophizing everything in life. And so, like, having that curiosity and really committing to that bigger why gives us the courage to take one step at a time, because it was really one step at a time. It's been 10 years of one step at a time. And I fucked it up all the way. I have fucked it up in every way, all the way throughout the last 10 years. So it's not about getting it perfect. It's not about doing it the right way. There is no right way. I still haven't discovered what the right way is. But I have discovered that doing things, having the courage to do things, even when I'm afraid to do them, has yielded me a different life than the one that I could have ever dreamed of having. And so that's the invitation for anyone listening, to just, like, one baby step at a time, and celebrate every freaking step you take. Celebrate the shit out of it, because it matters. As insignificant as you think it is in the moment, every single step has brought me over the last 10 years to where I am today. So it's monumental. Every tiny step is actually monumental. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share with all of you. And I love you, ladies, and I love having the opportunity for us to really share from our souls. And my prayer is that anyone listening to us and watching, it's always to ignite something in you for your life to be the best possible that it can be, and for all your dreams to come true. So thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Aga.
I was doing notes as well to keep the track of my thoughts as we went. But funny thing is that I think in February this year, I start noticing that fear in me is hiding in a places like, I don't like it. You know, like there's so many fears that are hiding behind something like, oh, I just don't do it because I don't like it. And we just avoiding things, you know, giving it labels just because we don't want to face it. And because of that, I actually recorded dismantling fear training, like a free training, because I was like, you know what, fuck it, this is just not okay. It's like I am hiding between, like, it was like, no, I'm facing my fears, you know, but in reality, it was like, well, there's loads of little things that you are actually not. And it's like, I just don't like it. And you know, every time that my husband would confront me with something, he's like, but I don't like it. It's like, why would you make me to do something I don't like it? So it was this ridiculous story of there's this underground parking in my husband like office, and it's a city center in Strasbourg, and it's like super narrow and kind of ridiculous. And every time I saw it, I was like, ah. So every time I had to go to town and like could park there, I was like, nah, you know what? I just no, because I would find 1,000 excuses, right? Such a silly little example. And what happens is, like, first of all, we're labeling it, and that can kind of be anything, and then it compounds, because the longer we avoid something, the bigger it grows, and the bigger it grows, and the bigger it grows, and then you're looking at something and you cringe completely. It's like, oh, I'm just not gonna do it. And then eventually I look at it and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. And I went that silly parking, and I parked and it was no problem. So I built this whole thing around it, right? And it was just so silly. And that's what we do. We compound the fear. Like, we're holding into things, and it's grow and it grows and it grows, and it kind of, yeah, we completely are stuck in our heads where things are most of the time completely not as bad as they are. And we can face them without really doing much. So that's something that that I wanted to touch on. And also, fear resists change. And change is something that is absolutely noted, absolutely necessary. My words are being twisted. And it's also hidden in, because it resists change, it's also it's hidden in routines. So sometimes we having a routines and you say, you know what, it's great, like I do the same meditation over and over again every day, you know, because it's good for me. But in reality, you're stuck in a routine that you feel comfortable in. You're not challenging yourself, because that's what the fear is showing us where we challenge ourselves, is showing us where we can step up, where we can face something, where we can grow. And every time when we're too comfortable and we're labeling it whatever we want, we're just lying to ourselves. And that's the truth. And when we were you all spoke so beautifully, you know, about avoiding yourselves and your power and your magic. And with women, it's like, we are all women here, and we want to empower each other to be who we truly are. And every time, and this is something I've been working on for a while now, just to speak my own truth, to be more authentic. And every single time I said something that I was really afraid of, that was very entangled in shame and guilt as well, that not only completely set me free, but also it helped me to be more who I am, more and more and more, and express myself in a way that touches better other people as well, because I am more in tune with who I am. So this is something that I was thinking about. Thank you. I never introduced myself. Jesus, I just talk. I'm Aga. Hi.
Thanks, Haga. Anna.
All right, so I wanted to mention one thing that could be a surprise, because returning to my story of listening to my student holding the microphone to his mouth, and when I heard this quiver in his voice, the first thing was, why? But the second thing was that my heart went to him. My heart was like, oh, there is something important here. Maybe I'm not realizing that, but he does. And I just felt for him. So sometimes, even if we fear rejection, what is really happening when we are nervous, it's just like a signal sent to other people. Careful, there's something here. There's something that matters. And if you remember anyone talking to you with this kind of nervousness in their voice, can you recall that? Can you recall how your heart went to the person? How you were sort of woken up from a kind of slumber, how you responded, like with eager ear and focusing your attention and supporting the person. So I absolutely love this reframe that we've done today. Like Jennifer talked about being raw and honest and authentic, and it's always something that captures me so deeply when somebody just goes through this nervousness, awkwardness, and then I realize there's something that this person wants to say, and then I just open my attention. So I wanted to remind us all about this thing that happens between us humans. Thank you.
That's beautiful, Anna. So, the $1 million question, do we want to go around and just touch on what is a fear we are feeling in this present day? Right? You guys are watching this. People we don't know are watching this. But like, we created this podcast because we have a group that goes deep, and like we have a group that like shares the depth. And I feel like practicing that is the way to kind of show up. That's just my feeling.
Marta,
So.
could you start?
Oh, fucking Anna. You fart bean. Okay. Fine. Damn it, Anna. Okay. At this moment, my biggest fear is like entangled. So my biggest fear is not going all in on something that I'm afraid of. So a lot of my work is leading individuals to come alive after loss. So it's a lot of grief work, and it's a lot of, like doing a lot of that depth. And it's something that I dance with. It's literally something that I dance with all the time, of being like, do I want to go all in on this? Am I inviting the sorrow in? Is this the thing that is like, even though the universe keeps pulling me back to it, like literally every single time, it's like, is this the thing? So my fear right now is dancing between worlds, is literally dancing between worlds. And it's like the fear of not putting everything, like my heart, my soul, my passion, into that focus and building something that's bigger than me. You know, Maria talked about like the purpose, right? Like I literally last night sat down and wrote out my whys. Like why? Like what are your whys? And like my whys, it was like this whole list, but at the very core of it, my why was so people know that they're not alone. So they know that they're not alone, so they can find the power within themselves, so that they can find the joy, so they can have the connection, so they can live fully and have the best relationships and, you know, do all of these things. And if that's my why, like, why am I avoiding it? Or not avoiding it, but like, why am I not like going all in on it? So that's my biggest fear right now. And we were talking about something earlier, and I just want to touch base on it because it came through so prominently, where when the shit hits the fan in our lives, like when something happens, life turns on a dime, all of the fears that we had disappear. They go away because it's like, holy shit. Wow. And it wakes you up. It wakes you up. And I look back over my life and I see these points of loss in my life. And it was right after those points of loss that I went all in on things, that I jumped on the plane, that I created the business, that I did the thing, because we don't have the fear anymore. So I talk about grief a lot, and it's like, grief is the ultimate teacher for me, and it always will be, because it shows us what's true. It shows us what's important. It shows us like where we've just been using our fear to hold back. And then suddenly the things that we thought were important aren't important anymore. And it clears everything. It's just like, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Yeah, it shows us what's not true. But it's so comical. Like it's funny, right? Like it's hilarious to me. Like I guess my point is that we are here, I think, because it doesn't have to be circumstantial. It doesn't have to be when the shit hits the fan. It doesn't have to be, you know, when loss comes in and wakes you up. We can choose it. We can actively sit and with our fear and be like, oh my God, I can. Yeah, like we are doing it. And that's huge because oftentimes it happens to us and then we react. We are here responding. And that is huge. So that is my fear. And thank you for letting me name it. Anna, you fart bean, you're going next. Actually, I see Jennifer's hand up. We'll go to Jennifer next.
I'm all for Anna going, but she was fun with that. Yeah, so for me right now, my biggest fear and my stomach, my belly is just going like make it like do not say the words, you know, but anyway, that's the nervousness that we've been talking about. So for me, like I'm at crossroads, and it's really a call to bet on myself, like to go all in for Jen, you know, and I'm so aware of my shortcomings and my vulnerabilities and my fuck ups and all the times I've tried this very thing and didn't get it, you know what I mean? That I'm having trouble owning my brilliance and owning my power and owning my worthiness to have things work out for me. It's like when I was the single mom, you know, I just always knew God was going to make a way because, you know, there's kids involved, you know what I mean? And I just always felt at ease if I needed help, like asking for it because there were children involved, you know what I mean? They gave me the courage to speak up and ask for help, you know? And now that they're grown with kids of their own and it's just me, and I get to bet on myself. I get to walk away from a relationship that I love and had high hopes for, but it's like the contract is expired, you know what I mean? And I'm still trying to drink the rotten milk, you know? And it's like I get to bet on myself and it feels scary as hell because like it intuitively, like in my mind, in my heart, like I feel like all things will work out even if it's just me. Like I matter too, even if there's no kids in tow, you know, like my stability, my safety, my well-being matters too. And yet there's still that nagging little fear devil is just like, hey, yeah, but you're this age. And so people aren't going to reach out and help you because you're 46. Like they expect you to have your shit together by now. And like all of these different things that keep me up at night, the what ifs, and what it boils down to, quite frankly, is I'm expecting that I'm the one that has to fix it. And I'm not leaning into the trust and surrender of God, Mother Nature, the universe, and all of the things, all of my angels, I'm not leaning into that support that surrounds me. And so then that creates the fear. And like you said earlier, Maria, then that leads to anxiety. You know, it's like I'm gonna be living on the side of the streets, you know what I mean? Like so I get myself worked up in a frenzy. And yet like when I really sit with it, when I get out of my own way and out of my own negative, anxious, you know, thoughts, it's like, you know what? Whatever happens, and I have no idea what, but whatever happens, like I just have this knowing that it will be for my highest good, even if it scares the hell out of me, you know, and I get to let go of that need to know, like the need to know how things are going to work out. Because why do I want to know how they're going to work out? Because that is going to bring me comfort. But what if I switch gears and change what my idea of comfort is? What if I can take comfort and solace in the fact that I have always been taken care of. You know what I mean? Like I've always been guided. I've always been protected, even in the dark nights of the soul. Like spirit, God is always there with me. And it's like, I'm glad we're recording this so I can listen to myself say this over and over and over and over and just get it in my head. But yeah, that the fear is like, what if I'm not enough to come rescue? You know, like, what if I've wasted time? What if it's all my fault that I'm here in this situation and I have to fix it? And what if I'm the one that has to figure it out and I don't know how to figure it out? And what if I think I figure out a plan and I go to take action on that plan and it falls apart? And what if, you know? But then it's like, what if, Jen? What if whoever's listening, like, what if we take a chance on ourselves? Like, what if I actually believe that on the other side of the fear is the breakthrough, is the treasure, is the things that I've been setting intention for, you know? And it's like we set intentions and ask for new, but then we freak the fuck out when the old falls apart. Like, make it make sense, you know? It's like, talk about psychosis, right? Like, that's the thing is like, I want the new, but then when the old leaves, it's like, no, I want the, I want a hand in both worlds. And it's like, I'm being called to release and let go. and open up to the unknown and have faith and believe and trust and surrender to what that looks like, and know that no matter what, my highest good is always considered. I'm always seen, always heard, always understood, always loved. Maybe not by people all the time, let's be real, but by my spirit team, by my God and my angels. And so it feels really scary, to be at these crossroads and to bet, like, put all the money down on yourself, so to speak, like, and go all in and take that year and face all of the fears. Like, hello, that was for me. Like, and I was sitting there consciously thinking of all of the things that I could run to, like, this week, you know what I mean? Like, right away. So yeah, for me, that's the biggest fear right now. And thank you for letting us voice this, Marta, because even in the nervousness of voicing it, it somehow feels lighter. Like nothing has changed. I don't know, did my phone ring with a miracle or whatever while we were talking? I don't know, but I feel lighter just by voicing it. It's like that grip, that fear grip, just by like talking about it, voicing it, it just loosens up. So yeah, powerful, very powerful. Thank you, ladies, so much for witnessing me. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jen. Maria.
Wow, Jennifer, that was very profound. Thank you for your vulnerability, for your rawness, your honesty, and for sharing it with all of us in the audience, because I'm sure there's many people that can relate. And this has made such a profound difference for everyone. Wow, for me, before I turned 50, so I'm 52 now, and before I turned 50, I thought I had all the time in the world, like all the time in the world. And something happened when I turned 50. I was like, crap, I've lived most of my life now. Like I've already lived more life than what's potentially in front of me. And that scared the living daylights out of me, to be honest with all of you. Because it scared me because I have so much passion and this bigger purpose than myself inside of me. And I'm like, what if I don't do what I'm here to do before, my time here ends? Like that is my biggest fear. My biggest fear is that I don't accomplish and I don't make the impact that I know in my soul I'm here to make before I transition into something else. And that would be, for me, like unbearable. And so, yeah, it throws me into different contemplations, and obviously into like, okay, I'm just gonna do the things I'm afraid of. So I think that's why, Marta, when you gave the example of that woman who stood up and said, this year I'm taking on that I'm gonna run towards my fears. I think that's why my body was just like, woo, that's it. Run towards your fears, Marie. So yeah, like for anyone, who's in their 50s, like I'm 52, I'm going through menopause, I'm, all these different changes and unknowns. And that's what showed up when I turned 50. And I am playing with it and I'm being curious with it to let it teach me something and to let it grow me. And I'm gonna take on running towards my fears. And this with curiosity, imagination, and playfulness, and a lot of passion. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love you.
Woo! I love it. I think we're all trying this on. I'm predicting this. I love it. Linda.
So I think my biggest fear is fear. I think I'm afraid of being afraid. And it's kind of counterintuitive because I live so much in the frequency of fear, but yet fear scares me the most. Because I think that fear is literally between me and everything I want, between everything that I desire, and between now and when I'm no longer here. I feel like the one thing that could stop it all is fear. And therefore it's the thing that scares me the most, because I know its power to put the brakes on. I know its power to freeze me. I know its power to silence me. I know its power to make me question me and doubt me. Like, the one thing that doesn't allow me to put my foot all the way down on the gas is fear. And so I think that's what I fear the most, is like being afraid. Being afraid scares me. So it's so weird to say out loud, but it's my complete truth. And I think that I'm a work in progress. I think that I change my relationship with it daily. I think it came here to teach me huge. And I think that the minute I can soften my relationship with it, is the minute that we can co-create. And I just anticipate that happening. Like, but yeah, that's what I want to say.
I love that, Linda. Thank you. Aga.
So I had this fear ready in my head. It's like, I know what I'm working with now. But is it my deepest fear? And when Maria was speaking, I just remember something. So what I'm working with is kind of connected, but that's not the thing. So a few weeks ago, I experienced this really intense pain. I was admitted to hospital. All this shit happened, but because, like, I was waiting for a long time before I went to hospital as well, because my kids were sleeping and all, I fell asleep. I managed to fall asleep in a position that was kind of allowing me to be kind of comfortable. And then for some reason, our smoke alarm went off. It's like in the middle of the night. And when I heard it, I got so scared and I jerked off. And this massive pain, like scale 9.5, like kicked in the same moment when I got scared. And I literally went into panic attack. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? And I had like the weirdest thing. It's actually so funny to share it out loud, but like I thought I'm dying for a second. And I went literally into this like panic attack. And I couldn't like get myself together. And then I realized what I'm afraid of, because I never thought like I'm not afraid of that. It's natural, it will come. But what came in that particular moment were two things. It's like, oh my God, I cannot leave my kids. I want to see them growing up. And I want to be there for them. So that was one thing. And the second thing that came to my head in this moment was like, I can't go now. I have so much to do. Are you fucking kidding me? It's like, I didn't even start it. It's like all these things that I have, like I have to give it to the world. Like, and that was those two, and they were so vivid in that moment. And I was sitting with it and it's like, oh my God, I never thought about it before. So thanks God for that pain. Because pain, like we as well, like fear, in fear, we fearing pain as well. So we avoiding and pain itself as well is such a truth teller. It's like a truth serum, it will show you everything. And what I'm working with at the moment is to stand fully in my magic and who I am and use my gift as it is, which is kind of scary because I see things in people that they don't see, which are true and very uncomfortable. And say that to people, it's scary because I want to protect myself. I don't want to be rejected. I don't want them to get angry at me. I still want to please them. And, I wanted to sugarcoat it. But sometimes I'm just like, well, I'm sorry, but like it's truth. You're ready, you're not ready for it, but that's the truth. So there you go. But I also have to learn how to present it in a better way. But yeah, but that's what I'm working with and about, just to be able to speak my truth in a most authentic way that also resonates and actually creates change, and to be true to my gifts and actually bring them to the world and be present with people that I love, because we never know how long we have with them. So that's what I'm working with.
I love that, Aga. Thank you.
Mhm.
Alicia.
So at the beginning of this, what's your biggest fear conversation, I'm sitting here and I'm just like contorting over all of the fears that I'm hearing. And I'm like, that one too, that one too, that one's also my biggest fear. All of these fears. Like, so what I've come to is my biggest fear is whatever fear is present in the moment. And my body tells me, like Aga, you were saying, like your body taught you all these lessons. My body is constantly teaching me lessons through fear. I lived in fear. I lived afraid of everything up until I was 26 years old. From age 19 to 26, I experienced trauma, and my response was to shut down in fear. And now I know later in life, I learned about the human design, and my spleen is open. So as you guys are talking, my open spleen is catching all of your fears and making them real and living into them like a movie that's being played in this moment. So my relationship with fear is that I like put my brave coat on and I do the fear thing. I like eat fear for breakfast. And I try not to give it that much weight. So this whole conversation is something that former Alicia might not have done that. Because when I see fear or a conversation about fear, there's this caution tape that goes up. Like caution, caution, caution. For a while, it was proceed with caution, and now it's proceed with curiosity. So I'm here proceeding with curiosity, seeing little movies of all of your pain and knowing that like they're entering me through a space where I don't carry my own power. So after this call, I have to kind of shake out the laundry. And as I'm listening in the call, shake out the laundry to make sure that I'm moving forward in a way that I don't have to have fear. And interestingly enough, on this call, I went off screen because I was processing a duck that I had roasted. And there's something that people say, water off of a duck's back, right? That's when they say like, oh, don't worry about it. It's water off of a duck's back. That duck was full of oil. That's how the water gets off the duck's back. It slides off. And one of the ways that I take care of myself when I'm overly outrageously filled with fear, which is almost every single night I get up and I'm responding to a fear, I take an omega-3. I put some oil in my body. Then it's water off the duck's back. And it's just so interesting that fear can show up in such a way, and it can really contract us all, and we can get so bogged down by it. And it might just be sometimes we just need to take care of this meat suit a little bit better. There might be an ingredient that we need to like put into us, and it might not even be ours. It might just be something someone said. So my biggest fear is just that I won't be able to manage fear when it shows up in the moment. I won't remember the omega-3s or something. I won't remember how to take care of the fear, and it'll consume me for a while, and that'll hurt people that are around me. So that's my biggest fear.
Thank you, Alicia. I know we have one left here.
Yeah. Yeah, and I could repeat what Alicia has said to a certain degree because I recognize myself in many of those. So maybe I'll mention one that that hasn't been called yet. So I'm afraid of heaviness. I'm afraid of shoots. And I'm afraid of a feeling that I have ruined my life, that I have made wrong choices. heavy, right? Heavy, heavy. And I'm afraid of, yes, myself feeling heavy and not seeing the lightness in my life, and not seeing what's right in my life, or what's just precious in my life. Like, you know what came to my mind? I'm afraid of killing myself. Not I don't have suicidal thoughts, but you know, when you go heavy and heavier and heavier, it's like you stop your life, you stop yourself from living. And I'm afraid that I can go through life without knowing how grand it is. I'm afraid that I believe that it's all wrong, and it's not. That would be the silliest thing, don't you think? And I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid of not seeing love. I'm afraid of not seeing those precious people that are around me. I'm afraid of not seeing my own beauty. Like you know, you're stuck in one body with yourself, and you might just not recognize yourself. Oh, Linda, I'm missing the vastness of life. That's the biggest FOMO, right? Fear of missing out on my own life. Not seeing it as it is. Not seeing how much I have. Not owning. Not having what I have. Can you imagine that silly thing? And on the other hand, that's our human condition. Like, we're always bound. No, just we have all those limitations, and to believe that if I'm not seeing something, that I'm just missing it. It's not that it's not there. This is spaciousness.
Thank you, Anna. The last thing I want to say before we wrap up today is that Anna brought it forward. It's like, it's so true that through the depth, there becomes lightness. Like, it's just so true. And how many of us found out, like, how many fears we have in common? Like, it's not just my fear. It's your fear too. It's your fear too. It's your fear too. So I know that there's women all around the world that feel all of these. All of them. And before we leave, I just wanted to invite everybody to take a breath. Like, just take a breath. And just pausing and remembering that we are not alone in our fears. That literally every person that you look at in your life, your husband, your kids, your wife, your neighbor, your friend, is feeling this at any moment in their life. And it's truly when we show up for ourselves and speak that fear and put it out and put spotlight into it, that it evaporates and that we can connect with others, because that is like the ultimate, at the end of the day, that deep connection with ourselves and with others. So if you see someone, just know that they are probably feeling that too. And to reach out. That's always my thing, like, to reach out. And I just want to invite everybody also to allow that feeling that Maria and Alicia brought in of play and curiosity, like, into this. how can we bring that curiosity in? How can we bring more play in? How can we dance with life, right? With these fears and make connection with everybody around us and deeply with ourselves. And for anybody listening here, I just want to thank you so much for joining us inside the Codes of Sisterhood. May you carry these codes into your life, seeing, loving, and rising with your sisters. Until next time, remember, we rise by remembering who we are together. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.